Hello and welcome to Talking Loud. I am the host, CynicTheCritic, and joining us we have everybody that is usually part of our Talking Loud crew. Yeah, that's right. Today we have the Anglophile Gamer.
Hey.
We have Yoshi Player.
And I'm gonna try and hope to see if there's a Halloween avatar, because we're still in Halloween month. But yes, I'm Yoshi Player. Hi.
Yeah, Muppet is joining us this week.
Sorry, I just needed a holiday. Jeez.
And joining us today, we have a special guest. You might not know him, but he's one of our closest friends, and we love talking with him, not just about Loud House, but also about cartoons, movies, just like anything that all of us like to talk about. And today we are talking with the OG himself, the CynicTheCritic.
Hey everybody, how are you doing?
Yeah. You also might know him from our other podcast, our sister podcast we did, Late Night Loud Talks, which we're not really doing right now because we have some special plans coming up, which CynicTheCritic might actually be part of another podcast that we're kind of in the works of doing, but we'll let you know once everything comes together, so stay tuned for that. So today, we are going to be talking about 4 new episodes this week. Everybody Loves Lenny, Middlemen, Tears for Fears, and T-Tail Heart. And very sudden, I might say that. I mean, like, the last episodes we got were, like, a couple weeks ago, and now we've got another week of new episodes.
Kind of strange how they aired them on a Tuesday instead of a Monday.
Yeah, that was... I mean, granted, that was also because I think this week we had Columbus Day.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that explains why. But, I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, these new episodes we're getting, like... The last ones that we got, they came out on, like, the week of September 17th, which was, like, what, 2-3 weeks ago? So it wasn't too long ago. So now we're already getting, like, new episodes here. And I think we also have, like, more episodes that might be coming out in November. Possibly. We'll have to wait and see for more release dates that will be coming out. But... And, yeah, as Yoshi just said, like, this is the month of Halloween, so of course we have 2 episodes that are Halloween-based-ish, we'll say that, and then 2 normal episodes as well.
The last one's kind of like a scary episode. It's not a Halloween one, but it's kind of like Price of Admission. It's not entirely...
No, Price of Admission was
sort of like... Sorry, I meant One Flew Over the Loud House. It wasn't a Halloween episode, but it was still... It had a scary theme to it, so it's kind of like that. I don't know why I got that mixed up.
I mean, for Tears for Fears, T-Tail Heart, and Price of Admission, you can tell, like, watching those episodes, which we'll talk about the other 2 later in the podcast, but you can tell that they take place in the fall, like in October, maybe November, September, somewhere around
Price of
that.
Admission took place around Halloween because
yes, you can tell because they,
jack-o'-lantern.
like, had Halloween decorations around. But we're getting off track. We're going to get into that later. But we're first going to talk about the first episode, and that is Everybody Loves Lenny. Torn between her work friends and her school friends, Lenny tries to bring everyone together. So, Lenny, I know there's one person in this group that doesn't like Lenny, and his name rhymes with Bossy.
Yeah, I don't really like Lenny, but...
Yes.
I mean, she can be good. She can be good, and we'll get to that later.
Yeah, so
one of the biggest Lenny fans, that's me. I mean, I love this girl so much. I still have soft spots for this character, even despite how she's been flanderized. But she's... Those 2 words rhyme. Yeah, I just love her character in general, and I'm always excited to see a new episode about her.
Right, I think out of all of us, I think Yoshi and CynicTheCritic are probably, like, the biggest fans of Lenny.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, I mean, granted, I do like Lenny, and if this was like back in like season 1, she would definitely be in my top 3. She's still in my top 5. It's just that the series has not really been kind to her. Like, it's like whenever we get episodes where she's the main focus, she usually ends up being great. And unfortunately, for other episodes where she's not really playing the main role and she's kind of playing more of a minor role, she's basically just written as the dumb one. And it was kind of funny at first in some episodes, but at this point, it's like, what are you doing? But thankfully, that doesn't happen here because everybody loves Lenny. Appropriate title because I loved this episode.
I love it too.
First time I've loved an episode in quite a while, and this is coming from someone who's not really into the show anymore.
Right, and here's the weird thing that I kind of get out of this is that even though like most of us seem to love this episode, there actually have been some people that like don't really like the episode all that much or don't love it in the same way.
That's mostly due to one aspect, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit.
Yeah,
but now I think because let's talk about Lenny as a character. I mean, it's a she's like she wants everybody to be happy, and she does still have her ditzy moment out of me. She's still the same character that I've grown to love so much, and it's great to see that she hasn't been flanderized in this particular episode.
Right, it's like she's still being ditzy, but it's not to the point where she's like being brain dead stupid. You know, which is like I think works well. I mean, it's not that I don't want Lenny to be super smart. She can be ditzy. It's just there's a limit. And I thought for this episode she was written perfectly. Like she still has her ditzy moments, but what's more shown is that she's still a sweetheart. She's still really nice. And unfortunately, like this episode kind of tests that because she's like juggling around these different friends who unfortunately they all kind of want their fair share of being with Lenny, and they unfortunately are jealous of each other.
And one of those friends is named Miguel, who's a nod to Miguel Puga.
Right, speaking of the friends, we know a character Vossi really loves, Fiona. In this episode.
Oh,
Yes, she's back.
Fiona's in this episode. And can I be honest, there's one weird thing about her character. It's not with the episode itself. It's just that there's like two instances where her voice sounded kind of different. It's like at the very beginning, her voice kind of sounded more raspy, and then like in the next scene, her voice sounds more normal. Like,
I wonder if they had a voice.
That sounded like, I see that you modeled the friends like us. And then the next scene, she's like, oh, there's the guy I'm dating. I don't know, was I the only one that noticed that?
Maybe
I
they
actually
had
didn't catch notice of that the first time I watched it.
It's like
maybe
her
there was
voice
a
kind
voice
of, like,
sounding.
changed.
It's like the actress voiced it two different lines completely on different days or something. I don't know.
Right, it's like as if on one day she was sick doing it, and then the next day she was all better.
Well, as a puppeteer, sometimes maybe they had a temporary voice in there, and then they just redubbed the lines. That happens a lot with puppeteers, voiceover.
And then we have Miguel and we have Fiona, who are Lenny's work friends, and then we have Jackie and Mandy, who are Lenny's school friends, who I personally think are pretty cute. I think they're cute girls.
Yeah, they
like
look
them.
cute.
Yeah.
Although, I did hear some people complaining that her school friends weren't people that we already knew. Like, some people were like, why isn't Becky in there? Or where's Dana? Or Chaz? Like, why aren't they in her school group?
I honestly don't really care
I don't really care. Except maybe
don't-
Muppet. He was a little upset.
Then again, I could see someone like Muppet complain about that, because we know who he is.
I'm not complaining.
Oh my
I bet
god!
you did. Because your girl wasn't in it.
I
Austin's
didn't complain
girl was
about
in
it.
it, but yours wasn't.
I wasn't complaining.
But
Yeah, but even... But I don't really care, because I still like Lenny's school friends regardless. Like, I thought they were pretty cute.
right.
But as a
OG?
whole...
Also,
Like-
we're actually Lori's friends, so I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, that... Now let's get into
Can I bring up something really quick? Sorry for the
Oh,
interruption.
go ahead.
Group of nameless girls that we saw in Sound of Silence and Overnight Success. Where did they go?
I think they were written off because nobody liked them.
Or maybe they just got purged like Rocky and Maggie.
No. They suffered, they unfortunately, suffered the snap from Thanos.
Oh my god!
Steal my
People
joke.
probably don't want to see them because I'll remind them of those shitty episodes.
Oh yeah, Sound of Silence. Ugh, that episode's garbage.
Fuck.
I don't know overnight success though.
But okay.
But anyway, yeah, back to
Whatever.
Lenny's friends.
So yeah, Lenny's friends. Now we gotta get into, I guess, the quote-unquote controversial thing with this episode. There's been quite a few people who have said that the biggest issue with the episode is that they found the friends really unlikable, petty, annoying. I personally didn't. I thought they were pretty amusing.
But you also have to take into effect that these characters, they're only teenagers, so of course they're going to act really petty, and people have brought up that it's kind of dumb how they both immediately hate each other from the instant they see them.
Well, they don't know each other.
But they don't know each other, and because they're both groups are different from one another, I mean, you can see differences. Of course they're not going to like each other at first. But they're just jealous because they want Lenny. That's why it's called Everybody Loves Lenny. Because
Lenny, right? It's like everyone wants a share of Lenny, and unfortunately, it's like, you know, like I want Lenny more than you. No, I want Lenny more than you.
It's kind of a problem when they don't like the other group because now their best friend is kind of in the middle of that.
Right.
Which,
go ahead.
Which I know people point out, well, if they liked Lenny so much, why would they guilt trip her? That wasn't really their fault. I mean, well, they were upset and they did guilt trip Lenny a bit, but they did realize what they did was wrong, and they do apologize at the end. Lenny was even ready to outright chew them out. I mean, it's very rare you see Lenny want to do something like that.
Right, that's why I wasn't really bothered by it. If it was written differently, then I would be bothered by it. But here, it didn't bother me that much because the episode pretty much showed that the friends were in the wrong, and they realized it. They apologized. And Lenny, like, even though, like, at first she was upset, after Lori and Lincoln, which we'll get to those two in a minute, when Lori and Lincoln were pretty much like, you know, like, you gotta step up, you gotta, like, put your foot down, you pretty much gotta tell them, like, you know, if we all can't hang out together, we gotta learn to share. And then Lenny's like, you know what, you're right. And of course, right when she's about to chew them out, she ends up stumbling her words, which I actually thought was pretty funny. She's like, if you guys can't share the store, then you're gonna have to go to the room, or something like that. I don't know.
I don't remember either.
It was a stupid line, but I thought it was funny. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was funny. And not to mention, a jerkish character can only work if they're still written in a way where they're still enjoyable to watch. Which, I know some people will be like, well, if you liked Lenny's friends, then how come you didn't like all the siblings being stupid in Frenzy? Because in Frenzy, it wasn't done in a way where they were enjoyable. Every character was just being so unlikable. And they were being just really... They felt out of character. They barely showed off any of their personality. So how is that fun to watch? I found it more fun to watch here in this episode because, you know, at least it acknowledges that what they did was in the wrong, and I don't know, their comments towards each other I found kind of funny.
Yeah, it was like the sort of like petty teen bullshit that would come out of like a CW drama, like Gossip Girl, which I like enjoy those kind of trashy TV shows, so I thought it was funny seeing that. And okay, yeah, we'll get to this other story involves one thing in the episode in a bit, but going back to what Yoshi said about Frenzy, he is right, but you should also realize, like, he is being subjective. Like for as much as we might say we don't like Frenzy because we found the characters unlikable, someone else might say they found them hilarious. Kind of like how for this, we found the friends hilarious, whereas for someone else, they would say that, you know, they're annoying and I don't like them. So, if anything, we're just expressing our opinion and we're just being subjective. So,
Well, let's talk about the pumpkin spice.
okay, yeah. So there's a comment. One of the funniest lines in the episode was this pumpkin spice latte comment that Miguel said. That pretty much just was like, it sounds like the sort of thing that any basic white trash girl would pretty much like do, is like be obsessed with pumpkin spice lattes. And then the next day, I was at Starbucks. I was at a Starbucks at my school, and I looked in the fridge there, and they were selling like pumpkin spice lattes. And I was like, "All right, I'll try one."
And you liked it, you Californian
Yeah, it was
white
pretty good.
girl.
This pumpkin spice latte. I was like, okay, I can see why white trash girls would enjoy this stuff.
Yeah, you Californian white girl.
Right, so I mean, like, it tastes good. And again, the comment in the episode that was funny. Also, what I found funny during that party scene was the Twister scene. Like, I don't know, I thought that was funny. How, like, it all kind of was, like, put together.
I like Lincoln's comment where Lenny's bending her backwards
Literally.
for her friend.
Right. Right. And here's another thing that is something that I don't think a lot of people are going to point out, but this is something that I absolutely love that the episode does. It feels more grounded in reality, if you know what I mean. It doesn't feel... One of my biggest issues I've had with Season 3 so far is that they've either had episodes that are just being too wild and crazy, or episodes that are just like, they're trying to be down to earth and it's just boring. This is an episode where I think it does have that down to earth, more relatable quality to it, but it still feels fun. You know, like, you can also, I mean, you can look at, like, for me, another down-to-earth episode you can look at is something like Absent-Minded, and I just found that episode really boring. You know, like, yeah, it's down-to-earth and relatable, but I just find it so bland. This, I find amusing. Like, look at the plot of this episode, it looks like something that would have come out of, like, a My Little Pony episode. Because, you know, like, that's a show that's, like, all about, like, friendship is magic and whatnot, but I'm getting off topic. Like, the plot itself was still, even despite the fact the plot could be considered predictable, it was still fun. You know, it was still really enjoyable. Because the characters, despite being petty, were still amusing to watch. I mean, characters that are unlikable doesn't automatically make them terrible. They can still work if they're enjoyable to watch. And even if they do bad stuff, like, you know, you still want to see what kind of consequences will happen to them.
Doesn't matter if an episode has to be predictable, as long as it's fun to watch, that's all that matters.
Right, and
That
like
can be applied to
for
most things.
Lenny's friends, like, they were being petty, and the consequence they suffered is, like, they don't have Lenny because it was their fault. Like, she pretty much just, like, you know, you guys are gonna go shop, and I'm not gonna come because I don't want to make either group mad. But, alright,
Let's talk about one of the more controversial sides, which was Lincoln and Lori.
Okay, Lincoln and Lori. Well, wait, controversial?
Well, remember...
I mean,
What
for the most
happened?
part, I think people actually liked them in the episode.
I'm pretty
Except
sure I
that-
saw people like it. And
Yeah,
that was
but
fun.
okay. There is one part where I don't really think anybody got pissed off about it. I'm assuming only one person did, but it was the scene where, like, after Lincoln explains this plan for Lenny, and then Lori's like, "That's really mature of you, Lincoln, for an 11-year-old." And then Lincoln's like, "Thanks. Well, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go sign my Ace Savvy underwear." And then after he leaves, he, like, smacks his ass, and then Lori's like, "I literally take that back." That was
funny.
hilarious. For me, that scene was funny because it felt like, to me, it felt like the balls innuendo from Space Invader done right.
And plus, you don't see Lincoln's waist in the whole scene, right? It's a
Right, and not to
surprise.
mention, Lori's comment was just the icing on the cake. It was like
How
the perfect
often do you
response
see
to say.
Lincoln?
It's like, I literally take that back.
And how often do you see Lincoln slap his ass like that?
It makes him look like a total dork, but I found it funny.
Oh man, that was funny. Yeah, I don't see what controversy can apply there.
Some people thought it was stupid. I don't know.
I thought it was funny.
But anyways, CynicTheCritic, you've been kind of silent.
Oh yeah, I've just been letting you guys speak. Don't really want to interrupt anybody.
Well, go ahead. I mean, like, I've said most of my
We're
points
pretty
about
much
this
done.
episode.
So, go on.
So you want me to just say more of my thoughts on the episode?
Yeah, give your thoughts on the episode.
Yeah, you're our guest.
Yeah, well, I really loved the episode. Like I said, I'm somebody who's not really into the show that much anymore, but I really loved it. I can't remember the last time that happened, except... Oh yeah, well, the last time that happened was Roadie to Nowhere.
I'm still in the minority for that.
We all have our different opinions, Fossey.
I know.
Well, I do have one minority opinion that I think might differ from most of you guys. Poet's Anxiety didn't do anything for me.
Oh, yeah, that episode.
Yeah, I remember.
You know, and I mean, go ahead.
That was around the
explain.
time that I was losing interest in the show, and even though I heard a lot of people say it was great, for some reason it didn't do anything for me. I don't know why.
I mean, what, did you just find the episode boring?
I guess Lucy and Luann have become characters I'm not too fond of anymore. I mean, I'm really not fond of Lucy after realizing how much of a bad goth stereotype she is.
Yeah, yeah. When you explain that, I mean, personally, Lucy, she's still in my top 5. I do really like her a lot, but I'll admit, lately they've been relying a little too heavily on her being this goth stereotype.
to not. Well, I've really grown to hate those, especially after Muppet has told me about his goth friend, and that the way goths are in real life is really not how they're like. Isn't what they're really like at all.
And they do it in cartoons because they write it because they think somebody will find it funny.
Yeah.
You've told me that your goth friend oftentimes complains about how goths are portrayed in cartoons and movies.
Yeah. She was just actually was talking about her, and we were talking about what were we talking about? We were talking about something. We were talking about how we were kind of glad that the whole goth stereotype of the 2000s has died off. That was around with stuff like Danny Phantom and. But anyway,
yeah,
I'm getting off topic.
Back to the episode itself. I mean, for Head Poet's Anxiety, I mean, if you find it boring, that's cool. I'm not gonna argue with you if you didn't love the episode as much. I still love it, even despite my few minor nitpicks I have with it. I mean, that blog joke from Lenny was pretty cringy. And for as much as I do really like the ending, it was cliche. I mean, of course the poem that Lucy would write to get her to perform would be about her sister.
And I think we're getting off topic now.
It was sweet, but it was really cliche.
Okay.
Speaking of which, I want... Oh yeah.
We should stay on topic and get through the 3 episodes.
Right, sorry. Okay,
Right.
so
I just want to point out, by the way, that
I don't think I should have mentioned Head Poet's Anxiety.
That's fine.
that's
But
fine.
anyway, yeah. Yeah, but anything else you guys want to say about this one?
Nope.
Nah.
Well, I want to say this is now my favorite episode of season 3, and that was it was really hard for me to decide, considering how much I love Head Poet's Anxiety. You know, I just love it so much. Like it connected with me personally, but I had to go with my guts and say I like this one more. And I know that's gonna piss people off, considering the controversy behind Lenny's friends. By the way, I don't know if anybody pointed this out, but did Drew was the one that pointed this out a few days ago. Anyone notice something weird about Miguel, like how he could possibly be gay?
Okay, that whole thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't really think anybody pointed it out because, like, I don't really think it matters all that much. I mean, the episode very much implies that Lenny's friend Miguel is gay, which, I mean, when you watch the episode, you can tell. But that didn't really bother me. In fact, I like that they did that. They had
I'm just glad they didn't make it a big deal.
One of the main characters who's gay, and they played it cool. Like, they didn't make it into a big deal, and I'm glad they did that.
I just don't like it when things are played up for a big deal.
Right. They didn't make it into a big deal, and I'm glad that they didn't. They wrote him as, like, he's just one of Lenny's friends. Which I thought was cool.
Alright. Yep.
Right. Okay, Yoshi, didn't you want to say something?
No, I said all I needed to.
Okay. Alright, cool. So let's move on to the next episode, which is Middlemen. When Lincoln and Clyde go to tour the middle school, Lynn gives them some questionable advice. Wow, we're already getting another Lynn episode? Well, I mean, I don't know if you can call this a Lynn episode. I mean, it is partially a Lynn episode.
But it's mostly a Clink on McCloud episode.
Right, a Clink on McCloud episode.
And your opinion on this depends on how you feel about the pairing in general. Because after Game Boys, I was a little bit more interested in this episode. In fact, I think a lot of people were really interested to see how it would turn out.
Right, because Game Boys, like, everyone really liked that episode. It was really good.
It was really good, but the problem with this episode and its prediction for me was that it involves Lynn, and I thought she was going to play that antagonist role. Which she doesn't really in the episode, but that's what I thought.
We'll get to Lynn in a little bit, but let's knock out
I have a lot to say about Lynn.
Let's knock out the McCloud aspect of the episode, because I don't have much to say. It basically plays like another typical Clink and McCloud episode. It's like
I actually thought it was kind of
like the two basically just act the same, and they're involved in this story that I thought was stupid. Where it's like they pretty much take Lynn's advice, and it turns out that it bites them back in the ass.
So let's talk about one good thing about the episode before we talk about Lynn.
Can I do the honors?
Yeah, you can.
Lauren Tom was in this episode. She's not in it that much, but she's still in it. That's right, Amy from Futurama.
Yeah, shout out to anybody who's a Futurama fan. She's in this episode.
Hopefully they'll get Billy West or Maurice soon.
That'd be pretty cool.
Chris McNeil and David Herman.
Yeah.
Right. Now,
But
okay.
Other than that, the story concept sounded interesting. Like Lincoln and Clyde are finally touring the middle school, which means, oh, maybe they'll graduate soon. And yeah, it kind of does that.
Yeah, but I don't know. The story just doesn't do anything interesting with it. And not to mention, like this episode, this episode probably has some of the cringiest humor I've seen in season 3. Like, there's nothing here that made me laugh. It was just cringe.
Was it Fandom Paints bad?
Yeah, okay. It does have tough competition because you also have Fandom Pains. Sorry for anybody out there, but yeah, I don't like that episode. Fandom Pains, Tripped, and for Muppet, White Hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because yeah, but I mean, it's still for middlemen. Like, just there really wasn't anything funny in that episode. Like, a lot of the jokes were basically Lincoln and Clyde acting tough, and it was the stupidest, one of the stupidest things ever. Because like, they can't pull it off at all. Which I know the episode obviously is trying to show that they can't pull it off. They're total wimps, but I still don't find it funny.
Just because I understand something doesn't mean it has to be anything amazing. Like,
Right,
holy
and
shit. The
now-
jokes where they tried Lynn's advice, God, it was cringeworthy. I'm sorry, but it was... Oh, no. It
It
was...
sounded like Grover there.
Right, like, and okay, and now we gotta get to all right, the subject at hand, Lynn.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy.
So
Yeah.
Can I just say it's
Go ahead.
simple? It's a good idea and concept, but a terrible execution. I talked to a friend about this, and he agreed. It's a good in concept, but bad in execution type deal.
Okay, so here's the thing. What they do with Lynn in this episode, I got what they were going for. It had good intentions. Like, finally, this is going to be an episode where it would flush Lynn out. Because one of my main gripes I have with Lynn is that she barely has any character development. It's like, all she is just this obnoxious, brash tomboy who embodies everything that is a jock stereotype. It's like, the only other character flaws she has are basically just played up for jokes. Like her ego and her farting. And with this episode kind of got me thinking a little bit, because I had to think, because I was just going back and forth with my thoughts on this episode, because, like, they fleshed out Lynn, they gave her a backstory similar to what they did with Luna and for Bros About to Rock, and we end up learning that all the horror stories that Lynn said, it turns out it was her. And that the reason why she is the way she is, which is, you know, like, Lynn, is because she had a terrible first day of middle school. And because everyone was picking on her, she's like, alright, you know what? I gotta toughen up. I gotta start being a jerk to people. And look where she is now. Here's the thing. It helps explain that backstory. It helps explain why Lynn acts the way she does, but it doesn't excuse it. Because what this episode does is that it wants us to feel sorry for Lynn. It wants us to sympathize with her and just have it be where, oh, now I know why you're a jerk. It's because people were jerks to you, which it isn't really a good. It really shouldn't excuse all the bad things Lynn has done. You know, like, again, like, I understand what they were going for, but it's just like, well, you're not much better now because you're still being a jerk and you're giving questionable advice to your brother who could end up going down the same path as you. So, what are you really doing?
It also explains why Lynn never really takes any consequences for actions. Literally, one of her rules is that never take responsibility for your actions. So that essentially explains why she never develops at all in other episodes, because, oh, I'm just being tough. I don't need to take consequences for my actions.
Like, she can never take the L. She can never admit that she lost.
Unlike,
It's
say,
just
Lola.
frustrating for me. So yeah, now we have the second episode in season 3 that tries to tell us to stop hating Lynn. First it was Sitting Bull, now it's this episode. And apparently it's working. Because have a look on Twitter.
Yeah, go
Suddenly
on
a
Twitter.
lot of-
Like, the day
Go on Twitter.
after this episode...
Everybody now feels sorry for Lynn. I've seen people saying, "Oh, I felt so bad. I
I
almost
cried tears of
for
joy
Lynn."
watching this episode.
cried
I'm sorry,
tears
I
of
had a hard
joy.
time trying not to laugh at that.
It's just, look, it makes sense that she would act this way after what happened, but it does not excuse the stupid shit that she's done. So, all that stuff that she did in episodes like Space Invader or No Such Luck, somehow we're now supposed to find it fine because Lynn was a victim of that. It
She
doesn't
was
excuse
bullied.
anything.
Yeah,
It's not good enough. In fact, that didn't make me like Lynn more, it actually made it worse. So, yeah, I'm on the opposite side now. This episode did not redeem Lynn for me, it made it even worse.
right.
So thanks, Loud House.
Right, and let me just say that we're not saying this just because, like, oh, we were bullies in middle school, like, we picked on kids. That's not true at all. Like, trust me, when I was in middle school, I was picked on a lot. I was bullied. Like, I hated middle school. But then again, 95% of people that have gone through middle school hated it and have been bullied. And if you say you weren't ever
Same here.
bullied, you were probably a bully.
Worse
So,
for me
like, for
personally.
Lynn, like, that whole excuse, it seems like something that just, like, everybody goes through. And really, the best thing for you to do is to just ignore it and just focus on what matters. And I feel like for this episode, it kind of tried to do that, but all it did was just kind of like paint Lynn as this character who has these negative qualities, but it's okay because she's been a victim. It's like it's like the episode wants to have its cake and eat it too. Like, I mean, that's like the best analogy I can think of for this. And it just kind of makes the whole thing confusing and just feel kind of gross in a weird way. Because now, because like, just looking at this episode and then in Sitting Bull, looking at the subtext of it, it very much gives me the impression that the writers are pretty much trying to tell people that don't like Lynn to get the hell over it. You know, stop hating Lynn. She's never going to change. You should just accept it.
Well, if you want us to like Lynn, then you need to develop her more. It's that simple.
And really, that's what's been going on now. Because, like, and now, like, for Sitting Bull, it didn't
Well-
work. And now with Middlemen, it worked. Because now, everybody's saying that she's a great character.
Yeah, just because of a backstory. It doesn't take a backstory to make anyone good. Even if Luna had that backstory in For Bros About to Rock, and I didn't like her as a character, would that make her change for me? No, it wouldn't. So, no, backstories don't change anything.
Yeah, and if somebody is going to, if anybody's going to compare Middlemen and say that has a better backstory than the one for Luna and For Bros About to Rock, you better come with good details. I want a full-on explanation. But
Anything else?
that's all I have to say, because I only want to focus on the Lynn aspect of it, because otherwise this isn't a good episode.
Yeah, it's bad. I didn't like it. Garbage house for me. But CynicTheCritic, you've been kind of quiet. What did you fully think of this episode?
To be honest, I thought it was passable, but nothing special.
Mm.
More on it than the rest of you, but that's just me. Though there is one thing about it that I really did not like, but it's actually a personal pet peeve I have with a certain topic. And
Yeah.
the thing that upset me wasn't Lynn or anything like that. The thing that upset me was the school stereotyping implications.
Mm.
You know, kids who are different, the new kid, outsiders, they always get targeted by everybody.
Yeah, that was annoying.
I really don't like school stereotypes, like, you know, nerd stereotypes, jock stereotypes. I think the reason I hate them is because when I was going to school, I never met anybody who acted like those kinds of things or experienced it myself.
But it's a kid's cartoon, of course they're gonna do that.
All right.
The school the school stereotyping implications was something that really bothered me, but it didn't bother me enough to make me hate the episode. In fact, I actually predicted this episode very much. I was thinking to myself, oh, it's just going to end where it turns out that the kids don't actually want to beat him up, and that's what happened.
Yeah, honestly, seeing that, I was just like, well, of course. Like, that's like one of the aspects of the episode where it didn't bother me that much, because it was just like, I already called it.
I didn't know how they were going to execute the way it ended, but I knew it was going to end so that way.
And to go slightly off topic, this is something that I kind of said on Twitter. In between this episode and Game Boys, have there been theories about Lincoln and Clyde being gay?
Oh God! You had
I
to
said
bring that
something on
up.
Twitter. I said something on Twitter, like, and I had that picture of, like, Lincoln and Clyde holding each other and whatnot. I'm just like, how are there not more gay comments about this, or people making crazy theories about it?
There's a possibility.
Because like, after I posted that, it got like a bunch of attention, mostly positive. People were like, "Yeah, you do kind of have an interesting point."
I just don't want to deal with any more gay fictional characters. I have to deal with over 30 phone calls over if Ernie and Bert were gay.
Oh my god.
Seriously,
Yeah,
how many more characters are they going to make gay on this show?
I don't know.
I really don't want them to overdo it. Like, just keep it simple.
Yeah.
At least it's not Lynn and Margot.
Oh my. Yeah. Or Luann and Maggie.
I would rather, to be honest, I know I said this in the last episode, I'd still prefer seeing Lincoln and Clyde over Lincoln and Ronnie Ann. Oh yeah, I just went there.
Okay, Bossy,
okay.
Bossy, I think you said you were the only one that liked this episode.
Except the problem is that while I liked it, it's not really for any high critical reasons. That's the problem. Because honestly, most of what I like about this episode mostly just stemmed because I just kind of found it an interesting and engaging episode, and I like Lynn more than you guys do. That's literally it. Because, like, I honestly think there's still negative things. Like, I can't relate to this episode to save my life. And a couple of other things, but, like, I remember middle school, because I don't. But, yeah, there's not really much to say about it at all. Like, I like it, but I can't really give high critical reasons as to why I do.
That's cool. I mean, yeah, again, like, and this, not just the Vossi, but for anybody else, I mean, like, even despite me and Yoshi being harsh on this episode, I mean, if you like it, that's cool. And, like, just ignore that thing that I said where I was laughing at somebody loving this episode. Like, that was a little out of line. But, I mean, I'm just saying, I only said that because, like, a day after the episode came out, that's just all I saw on Twitter, and I was just becoming ridiculous. And, like, I just kept saying to myself, just shut up, let them enjoy this episode, you know, like, don't be a wet rag.
Don't you mean a wet towel?
Wet towel, thank you.
Wet blanket.
Wet blanket, thank you. So I was like, I was gonna keep my mouth shut. I was gonna wait till the episode. I was gonna wait till we recorded, so then that way I can just let it all out. And I did. So.
Okay, let's talk about the next episode.
All right, the next episode. The next episode we have is Jeers for Fears. After agreeing to go to the Royal Woods House of Terror, Lincoln and Clyde have to toughen up and face their fears. So, we got another Halloween episode, kind of.
Sort of.
Yeah, I mean, this is coming out a year after Tricked, which, I mean, I don't know, I mean, what's your opinion on that episode a year later?
It's still mediocre to me. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some stuff I like, and that song especially is amazing, but
oh, it is, yeah.
It was just boring. Like, I wish it focused more on, like, the other sisters, especially Lucy, because I think that would have made the episode so much more interesting and definitely fit the theme of Halloween.
It just feels like after
stuff, it was just boring. Like, I don't want to see these two for the whole episode. It's just not interesting.
Like, yeah, like 90% of the episode is mainly focused on Lincoln and Clyde. While the other 10%, we have the Lucy plot, we have the plot with the twins and Lisa, and then we have the moments of Lynn Sr. getting scared. So, I mean, like, my biggest issue I have with the episode is that it has some really cool ideas, but it's just that it kind of just devolves into being a typical Kingdom of Cloud episode. Which stinks, because, again, there are moments I really like here. It's just, again, they feel kind of wasted. That being said, I certainly take that episode over Jeers for Fears, because it's been a while since I've seen an episode this bad. I mean, yeah, I was harsh on Middleman, but say what you will about that episode, it at least had good intentions. It was at least trying to flesh out Lynn.
But there's
I can't say anything good about Jeers for Fears.
Actually, before I talk about the actual episode, can I quickly talk about how annoying it is that Nickelodeon kept trying to hype this episode up?
Oh yeah,
like,
they were.
All throughout the week, this was hyped up so much. And I know why. It was a Halloween episode, but Tear Tell Heart was kind of scary too, and that didn't get hyped up either. This
probably not many.
This doesn't apply as a problem with the episode. It's just something I thought I'd point out. But as the episode itself,
what do you expect?
Yeah, I guess I can't be shocked. I mean, they do this shit all the time. I guess it's a ratings trap. I don't know. I say that because, Holy shit! This episode was
Tears for
awful.
Fears.
Oh,
Can I say-
oh,
Can I say
I
something positive
hated
first?
this one.
Go ahead,
What?
Muppet.
Bud made a cameo after
Yes.
Yeah, and that's
half
why
a season.
Muppet didn't hate the episode. You got to see his precious bun.
Wow.
It's like the only thing I can say that's actually good, except like, okay, some visuals, facial expressions, but otherwise, it's just mediocre. Cause it just there's nothing.
Okay. All right.
got
So
it.
this
It's
episode
boring as
itself.
nothing.
Okay, I'm gonna start off with the positives. I thought that some of the visuals, like some of the haunted house visuals, they looked okay. Nothing great. But
Like the
it
animation
fit
as a
the
whole in
mood.
this episode was actually really good.
But then
Like,
again, the animation
wow.
for every episode is always really good. So it's
yeah,
I'm
but
not
they
really
really
saying
had
much.
to like up the ante on this one since it was Halloween.
Yeah,
Some of the
I
visuals
guess.
here, yeah, it looked really good.
So yeah, I mean,
But that's about it.
I thought some of the Halloween visuals looked okay. That's all I gotta say. This is easily one of the worst episodes of season 3, even worse than Tripped. Is it
Yeah,
worse
I
than
hated
Frenzy?
it more than Trip.
That's debatable. We'll have to see. If this
I
ends up
would
worse
say I
than
still
if this is worse than
found-
Frenzy by the end of the year, if this is worse by. We'll have to wait till the end of the year or the end of
You
season
mean
3.
whenever
this
that
point,
happens?
I'd still say I find Frenzy worse because it was more mean-spirited to me.
Oh,
But this episode, no excuse. I hated this episode because there's nothing in it. The whole episode, literally, entire 11 minutes is just Lincoln and Clyde screaming at everything, and that's it. And it gets so annoying. They do it all the time, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. It's not funny.
it's like the first few
Oh.
times you might. It's like the first few times you might find it amusing, but then it's like
And they get scared of literally
They
anything.
stretch that joke out of Lincoln and Clyde scared at everything for the entire 11 minutes, and it gets so annoying.
Also, can I bring this up?
Oh.
Something
ahead.
up. It said Bobby was working at the haunted house, right?
Okay, the whole Bobby thing. I'm gonna let Muppet rant about.
Okay,
this.
why would Bobby work at a haunted house in Royal Woods when he lives in the city? Wouldn't that?
Probably just, he was probably just
Would that-
visiting Lori for the weekend.
But he said he works there. So wouldn't that require a lot of gas money and stuff, and driving back and forth
I
to the
don't
city?
know. See,
That would-
that's
that
the
would
thing.
be-
They did do a good job of explaining that. It felt like Bobby was only there just for the sake of the plot.
All right, it just feels really weird. It's like I don't hate Bobby, but it just feels kind of odd how he's just working in Royal Woods
But like,
when he
I
lives
mean,
in.
but they also kind of feels. But I also feel like they brought him back because like after Misconnection, everyone's like, we love Bobby now.
I don't think he was working in Royal Woods. I think he was just showing his old job.
I thought he was working.
That does make more sense. Where he was only showing them his old job.
He was just showing them he's not actually working there because he used to work there. So it makes
I
a
thought he
little
was
bit more
working.
sense.
But you know what's
I
even
think
more
it was
confusing?
working
Okay,
there.
but you want to know what's even more confusing? Like when they go to the haunted house and then like the old employees leave, how did they find out that the place wasn't scary enough? Like, did Bobby tell them or tell the manager or what? I don't get it.
Who knows?
Like that part was more confusing than the Bobby part. The Bobby part didn't confuse me. What confused me was how did the other employees know that they need to revamp the haunted house and they get fired and that and then they said like 2 kids didn't find it scary. Wait a minute, like thinking about that, it just didn't make any sense. But but again, like that stems away from my biggest issue. My biggest issue, okay, say what you will about Middleman, like that episode was cringy. This episode has probably is even cringier than that because
Okay.
again,
I
the
have
jokes are
something
basically
else
just
to say.
go ahead.
Okay. Why do we need to see Chandler after 2 years? No,
Okay,
wait.
Chandler, we'll get to him in a bit.
I'll talk about that part because I'm the one who should.
Yeah, I'll let you talk about that in a bit, but let me continue. Like, the comedy here, like, it's based... Really, the only jokes here are just Lincoln and Clyde scream. Occasionally, they'll hit a wall and fall down because they're stupid. And that's it. Those are, like, the only jokes we get in the episode are basically they,
and then
they
there's
scream and then they fall down.
Or the gag where they're just covered in blankets.
Oh, yeah,
Use
that's
it.
just... Okay, that joke is also stupid.
Another time.
That joke also
Bud.
got stupid because I'm just like, we get it. You're the biggest wusses in the world.
But though.
But, okay, the whole Chandler thing, Muppet, you want to talk about it, so go ahead.
All right. why did Chandler even need to be in this episode? It just feels like he was there for plot device, along with people saying, "We want Chandler. We want Chandler." Look, there's like how many?
I don't know, like 100 side characters.
There's let's say over 50 minor to one-shot characters people want to return. And the crew has even stated that they're cutting certain characters out. Like Maggie got purged, Rocky got purged. It's getting to a point where it's annoying where you don't know what they want to do. So I'd rather just have them just use one of Lincoln's friends. Like say, what if it would have been much better if it was someone like Girl Jordan, right?
Oh, you really want to drag Girl Jordan into this when Vossi's on here?
What?
He would love that. I bet he would.
But
Girl Jordan instead of Chandler.
I know pictures.
all right, but going back to your Chandler thing, I think the reason why they brought him back is because because the writers they kind of got an idea where they kind of want to make him one of like Lincoln's friends, you know, kind of like what they did with Carol from Self Improvement, where it's like, oh, it's an enemy turned friend. My problem with it is like Lincoln already has a lot of like friends. It's like we don't need one other. And I kind of feel like they only did this just because they want to develop another side character to use potentially for another episode. But I'm like, you already have a lot of other characters. Why?
Or maybe they just wanted to see Chandler get scared the shit out of him after what he did in the waiting game.
Okay,
Which he did get away
why.
without any consequences. So I guess it was kind of satisfying seeing him get what he deserves here.
Yeah.
I don't really know what they want to do. I have a theory this was a season 1 script that they decide to just wait to fill in season 3.
Yeah, like the only like it does feel like a season 1 episode. The only difference is like they mentioned that Bobby is living in the city. That's it. Oh, and also that Clyde isn't nosebleeding around Lori. So
okay, that's something I actually like.
If I had to find one other thing that I kind of liked in this episode was that Clyde didn't nosebleed. So I'm like, okay, the writers are finally starting to let this joke go away. So that's good. I mean, it's doing a better job than what it did with Change of Heart, so I can applaud that.
Oh, Bozzy loves Change of Heart.
No, I thought you said Yoshi loved Change.
Oh yeah, like you guys love it too.
I love Charlie
Dick Bobby,
Bozzy.
so that's kind of alright.
But back to Jeers for Fears itself. I mean, aside from like Lincoln and Clyde, who after like hearing them scream, it's like I never want to hear them like scream again. I'd rather hear nails on a chalkboard than hear them.
I would rather be stuck in a children's birthday party than want to hear these two scream again. I'd rather watch Ruthless People than watch this episode again. I would rather watch. No, I would rather watch the fucking Emoji Movie than watch this again. What? Annoying.
Yoshi's going off.
And yes, I'm going all off. I'm going all out. You know what? I literally wrote a bunch of things I'd rather do than watch this. I'd rather be at a zoo for 24 hours than watch this episode.
Oh, I know what. I have a question, Yoshi.
What?
Would you rather be stuck in a mascot costume as your job than watch this episode?
Yes. I would even do that.
Okay, I mean,
because it is annoying. I never want to watch it again. If I see these two screaming again, I'll just be like, shut up!
If I hear them screaming again, I'm gonna mute the TV.
Yeah. Or I'm just gonna like turn it off. So you made me miss a chance to watch an episode.
Do one of those things. I don't care. But aside
just
from like
anything to not hear these two bitches scream again.
But aside from Lincoln and Clyde screaming, getting annoying, the sisters don't really do anything here. It's like, I mean, yeah, they're not being mean. Like thankfully, some of our predictions were wrong. We thought that the sisters were behind the whole thing. They weren't. But even then, they don't really do much in the episode. It's like they just go along with Lincoln's stupid plan where it's like, we need to toughen up. I'm gonna get all of my sisters to scare me so I can toughen up.
Except Lori.
Lori
wasn't in that.
They don't really do anything here. I mean, Lucy is all right, I guess, but again, she just looks bored in this episode.
Also, they got their horror movie references wrong. When Lynn had the Jason mask, she had a chainsaw.
Dude, I pointed that out. I said that Jason was the one that has a machete, and Leatherface is the one with a chainsaw.
Well, he's done other weapons, Drew, like an axe.
Oh my god! Yeah, you think you're gonna be the one that that takes credit for saying that. I was the one that said that. Go on my DNR and you'll see why. But I've already gone off of this episode, so CynicTheCritic, you got anything to say?
No, not really. The episode was just repetitive. It was boring. I think the reason I didn't feel strongly about it is because I honestly think I'm just numb to the series now. Unless it's something that's bad on the levels of, say, stupid consequences for all of the family or the greenhouse, it's not going to piss me off anymore.
Good thing
I think I'm just
you
numb to
never
the
watched Ruthless People. That was a really bad episode.
Oh, man.
I didn't see Ruthless People, I didn't see Trip, I didn't see any of those. Like I said, I think I'm just numb to the series at this point.
Yeah. Good thing you're numb. Wish I could be that numb.
Anyways, any other closing thoughts on this episode?
Just watch it for the bun scene. That's it.
Like I said, it's just repetitive, it's boring, it's nothing. Let's just say that. It's nothing. It's not there.
This episode was only made because we need a Halloween episode. That's literally all it was made for.
And it was needed to fill out season 3.
Pretty much. But moving on, we have the other Halloweenish episode, Tea-Tail Heart. Lola discovers Lucy has an old fragile doll and decides she must borrow it no matter what Lucy says. Okay, so first off, earlier this season we had Lucy and Luann paired up together. Now we kind of have Lola and Lucy paired up together. And you know what that reminded me of? Room with the Feud. Remember that episode where they had a bunch of pairings of like the sisters together? Like in that episode we had Luann and Lucy paired up when they were playing poker, and then we also had Lola and Lucy paired up when they were having a tea party. And so I get the feeling the writers were like, you know what? These are interesting pairings. Let's have them in more episodes. I'm kind of glad they're doing that, because, again, I love Headphones Anxiety, and when I saw this, I was like, this is interesting. Granted, I didn't really know if they were going to be played up much as a duo. It seems more like they were kind of going to be, like, I don't know, like, protagonist, antagonist. I'm not sure. So I was still looking forward to this episode, because Lola, for the most part, has had a really good track record of episodes. Aside from Sound of Silence, and aside from No Place Like Homeschool, which isn't bad, but it's just boring. Lola's episodes turn out to be either really good or really great. So, and with this is another episode to add to it, because I thought this was a really good episode.
I liked it. It was alright.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. And really, I needed that after Gears for Fears. Oh my
Me too, yeah. Like, this episode is like the better Halloweenish episode.
This the better, scarier episode. Basically.
Right.
But there are some problems.
Okay, before you get to your problems, let's let the big Lola fan talk about it. Bossy?
Yes! Okay, you know what? I mean, you guys are already going over negatives, and I was literally planning to start with negatives. Which, there wasn't much, like, really the biggest thing, the worst thing I can say about this episode, besides, of course, Lucy not really doing much, is that one thing at the end where Lana asked a question about burgers. That was disgusting. I mean, it's not too bad because, one, it's normal out of Lana's character. But,
at least she's eating bugs. Like say,
like what she said, it was equivalent to saying, like, why is the sky blue?
Otherwise, yeah, freaking loved this episode. I think it's like, well, first off, any horror elements that they imply in this episode, I feel like are so much more well done than Gears for Fears. Although there's not much in the way of like horror elements or anything like that, but I feel like they pull off the Halloween theme a lot better. Because it's like, and I like how the plot's like really unique, but it's not too like weird or just like, how do I put that? I don't know really how to put it, but it's like it's unique but not weird and stupid. That's kind of what it is. Lola, I think, is the best thing about this episode, guaranteed. I just love the second half where she tries to attempt to get rid of the doll. Like, all the skits are, like, they go down really well and they're kind of funny, but it's like, especially when she's like burying the thing behind Charles' doghouse and saying, like, you saw nothing. And then she eventually gets flipped to Hopper, which I liked him in this episode too.
Hey, anytime John DiMaggio's on the show, it's usually a good time.
I know, I usually do like Flip under most circumstances.
I'll like say City Slickers for that one.
And I did like the twist where it's like, I did like the twist ending this episode had as well. It's like, but yeah, I tried to like prevent this from being my favorite of season 3, and despite the fact that I didn't say much, yeah, I can't lie to myself. I freaking adore this episode, and it probably is my favorite out of season 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
For me, I would say this is an episode that's tailor-made for Lola, because how she's written this episode, it's like you can tell this very much is written for Lola's character, because like in the episode, like she's literally talking to her stuffed animals like as if they're real, and how she acts, it's I found it really cute. Like how she acted here, again, she's still acting bratty, but I still found it funny. I just did. And like how she was acting this episode, it was just really amusing to watch. And just like even like little bits in here, like when she takes like her teddy bear, what is it, money bear? Like it's her bear where she keeps all her money at, which actually was a reference to No Laughing Matter when Luann was asking for $1 and she took it out of her bear.
Yes, I noticed that, but I don't think I recalled the episode, but I remember that being a thing.
Yeah, No Laughing Matter. It had that one bit where it's like Lola got her money out of her bear, and it's like, oh, they returned it here for T-Tail Heart. That was actually pretty nice.
I have my money in weird places, but I'm not going to say where.
Right, but yeah, like I forgot what the bear's name was. Money Bear. I don't know. Somebody will probably explain in the comments.
I think it was like Mr. Teddy or something.
Sprinkles. I think it's like Mr. Sprinkles or something.
And then, like, as she's walking out, she talks to another stuffed animal.
Sprinkles.
She talks to another stuffed animal, and it's like, sorry, but we don't have that kind of relationship. And as she leaves, the stuffed animal just falls. Like,
yeah, it makes a funny squeaky noise.
One of those little details that I just found funny.
I think I noticed that on my second time, not my first.
I like the squeaky sound effect they use. Like, I love it when cartoons use squeaky sound effects.
Right. Now, is the story predictable? To an extent, yes. But I honestly don't mind it. Like I said, predictable stories can work if it's enjoyable to watch and the characters are fun. And this episode, it worked for that. That being said, I do have some nitpicks with it.
It's raining in my area now.
Oh, interesting. But
yeah. Oh no.
It ended over an hour ago.
Not in my area. It just moved down here.
Yeah, anyways, my nitpicks for this episode. I liked Lucy's role in the episode, and that part where it's like Lucy says that like she forgives Lola for what she did, and then Lola hugged her and she's like, "Thank you, you're so nice." I don't know, that was actually pretty nice. I liked seeing that. Like that was like the one moment where it's like Lucy actually acted like the Lucy that I liked, and not just like the typical goth stereotype. But even then, I wish that she played a bigger role in the episode, because she only had like 2 scenes in the episode. It's really more of Lola's episode, but...
And she was at the goth convention, which...
Thank you for pointing that out.
That was kind of funny, okay? As somebody who goes to a regular goth convention.
Right. So, I mean, again, it's a nitpick, but I wish Lucy's part was... She played more of a bigger role in the episode. Also, I thought Lincoln's role in the episode felt kind of pointless. I was like, why is he here? Like, you literally could have replaced him with any other sister. I mean, the only thing that makes it clear that Lincoln is in this episode is that Clyde line, where it's like, why don't you just... Lola's like, why don't you just play with Clyde?
No, why don't you go see Clyde? And Lincoln just explained he's at his therapist.
That's like the only line that makes it go, okay, now I know why Lincoln's in this episode. They needed that one line.
It should have been Lynn, honestly, in this episode more.
Right.
It would make more sense.
Which I know Yoshi has a nitpick with Lynn in the episode.
It's not really there anymore. I don't know why I was thinking that. Yeah, it's
like at the very end of the episode, the doll on Lucy's bed falls down and Lynn just gets superstitious. For as much as I have complained about the whole superstition gag of Lynn, this one didn't bother me that much.
Well, at least he didn't accuse anyone of being lucky.
This didn't bother me that much because it didn't have anything to do with sports. That's why. Like, when she got superstitious, it's because she thought the doll was haunted, not because it's going to get in the way of my games. Like, if she said that it was going to get in the way of her game, I would get annoyed.
I thought it was because of the bacon comment where Lynn said, "I'm going to eat all of Lucy's bacon."
Wait, how is that a superstitious line?
No, I thought it was that line that Yoshi didn't like.
Not that one. Didn't bother me that much. I was at this point now. I'm just like, of course, Lynn would say that.
Though I have dates
Yeah,
in
I
my
kind of have
siblings'
to get
food.
used to it.
Pretty
I'll only
much,
bring it up
but-
if it's annoying, but I guess it wasn't annoying.
But back to the Lincoln thing itself, I thought his role was kind of pointless. You could have just swapped him out with any of the other sisters, and I don't know if it would be better, but it would at least have some more interesting results. I would say that.
It just
And-
feels like Oh, let's mention something.
What?
This episode was written by Sammy Cowley alone. for
Yeah,
her
like,
first-
because, you know, like, Sammy Crowley and Whitney Weta, usually they, like, write episodes together. This is the first time where Sammy wrote it herself. I honestly want to see more of that. Like, I want to see, like, Sammy write episodes by herself, because it would actually make an interesting difference between this episode, the episode that Sammy wrote, and then the episode she wrote with Whitney.
I want to see Whitney do an episode alone as well. I want to see what
Just
she.
to see how it turns out.
Right,
Yes.
so that way we can kind of, like,
If-
that way it'd be, like, easier to, like, spot their strengths and weaknesses as writers.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think I ever want to see them together writing again, although I don't think that's going to end.
Right, and back to what Vossi said about the twist, I do agree with him. I thought that twist, it made sense for the episode, and it did help. It did, like, all again, it made sense because, like, for Lana, you know, she's someone who, like, always is, like, going around gross places and whatnot. Even though, like, the thing at the lake, that is a bit of a stretch, but I'll still take it. And it
Yeah, I
did
remember
help
for-
make sense. I'm glad they did that and they didn't go the supernatural route.
Oh, that would have been just terrible.
Right.
It would have been like the time travel thing,
Right, from Mad Scientist.
which Bozzy surely loves.
Okay, but
Kind of
So,
really
like-
largely.
but aside from those nitpicks, I can't complain about this. This is a really good episode.
Yeah, it had a strong conclusion to the week.
Right. CynicTheCritic?
Yeah, I really like this episode too. In fact, I feel that this week started off great, had a weak middle, but ended off with a bang because I really liked this.
Right.
And can I bring up something that I haven't heard anyone bring up when it comes to this episode?
Go ahead.
People will know this, but okay. Excuse me, this is nerdy, but it's time for the Cartoon OG's trivia. This episode, not just in name, but also in story, is actually a parody of the Edgar Allan Poe story, The Telltale Heart. Because the whole thing of how she tries to get rid of the doll and then it comes back haunting her, that happens in the Poe story as well, where the person basically like buries the heart of his murder victim and then he keeps hearing the beat louder and louder until it eventually drives him insane.
Yeah.
Not just in title, but also in story execution as well. And that was the Cartoon OG's trivia!
Yay.
Thanks for the trivia. And yeah, that is actually, now that you bring that up, it's like, that's actually cleverly put in. It's like, I mean, granted, I never read the original, but...
Yeah,
Dude,
I
I
think-
read Poe. I read Poe.
But, like, if it, like, very much goes for what that story did and puts it here, and, like, you know, it's like, I gotta give the episode props for doing that. It's like, they did a really good job implementing that. But, I mean, any other thoughts you have on this episode?
Yeah, I think we covered everything with passionate rants.
Seeing Flip's feet wasn't funny, it was just gross.
Okay, yeah, that was gross.
Yeah.
That's, like, probably, like, my other nitpick I had. But even then, it was minor.
Something I was worried about, but good thing this didn't happen.
What?
Expecting.
What?
That Lucy knew all along, and she was purposely putting the doll back in Lola's room to scare her. That's
Okay.
what I was originally expecting.
Ugh.
But no, that didn't happen. Thank
Yeah.
goodness it didn't.
Yeah, if they did that, it wouldn't really make that much sense.
Why would Lola...
Yeah.
And plus,
Like-
Lola made up her actions. Oh, I want to bring up something because I recently went to an antique store myself. Before the episode aired, ironically enough.
Yeah.
How much did the doll cost at the antique store? I want to know that.
Oh, there's another... Oh my god, I also forgot about this part. Right as Lola puts the doll on the counter, like, the stuff below it breaks as well. I thought that was kind of a funny joke there.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I'll take this, and I'll pay for this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
It's like one of those It's like one of those jokes that shouldn't work, but it just does.
Oh. I wonder where Lola gets all that money.
I don't know. Like, why does Lisa have a PhD?
I think she steals it from everyone's wallet. She reads their diaries.
I don't know. Maybe she got that money from pageants. Like, I mean, I'm sure for
That was just
pageants you
being
win
silly.
money out of it.
Anyway,
But
nothing much else to say.
Nope.
all right,
No, I
so
don't really have much else to say.
yeah, all right. So that was our week, and it was all over the place in terms of quality.
As a whole, I would say this week was it was okay. Like,
It was kind of
Not-
like a sandwich. It had a firm bread, but not a good filling.
it's like you have a good sandwich at the top, it tastes good, but then the middle stuff is just blech. But then the last little bit is good again.
Right.
Then again,
so,
who has a sandwich like that?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Scooby-Doo.
So for all right. So best of the week for me easily goes to Everybody Loves Lenny. Even though T-Tail Heart, even though I really liked that episode, it couldn't quite get there. Everybody Loves Lenny. I love that episode. Best of the week for me. Worst, Cheers for Fears. No competition whatsoever. I mean, say what you will about Middlemen, but at least had good intentions. So I don't like it, but it's better than Cheers for Fears. Bossy.
Best? Oh, come on. After that passionate rant, am I going to give it anything else? No, it's T-Tail Heart. Worst? Yeah, Tears for Fears. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
All right, Yoshi.
Oh, Bossy, you make me laugh so much. Anyway, yeah. Alright, so my best of the week, yeah, it's no surprise. Everybody loves Lenny. The title's right. Everybody loves Lenny. Well, mostly. Yeah, I really like that episode. Honorable mention, yeah, gonna give it to T-Tail Heart. That was an easy pick. It's not quite there to being the best, but I still really enjoyed it. Worst of the week, yeah, if my rather things that I would do rants weren't obvious, it's Cheers for Fears. Fuck this episode so much. I never want to see those bitches screaming ever again. If I do it, I'm just gonna punch a pillow or something.
You can punch my punching bag.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
yeah,
Muppet
dishonorable-
will give you like a ticket to come to LA so you can use his punching bag.
Perhaps. And yeah, dishonorable mention Middleman. Even though I had good intentions, I still didn't like it that much. So yeah, this was like the easiest picks for me because there were two good and two bad. So that's me.
All right, Muppet.
Same as you and Yoshi. Just not going to go into it, except for the Bun Bun cameo. That was one nice surprise.
All right, CynicTheCritic. What was your favorite? What was your least favorite?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. My favorite, Everybody Loves Lenny. Lenny's my favorite character, and this was the first time I loved an episode in such a long time. The T-Tail Heart, that was really good. Thought it was a great episode, and yeah, and of course, my worst is Cheers for Fears, but like I said, I didn't hate it. I just found it boring. All it did was... I'm gonna leave it at that. It's nothing.
All right, so yeah, that was our week, and yeah, so thank you guys for checking out our podcast. Our next podcast episode, well, we're just gonna have to wait and see what November will hold for us. We hear,
It's rumored that really loud music is coming out in
really
November.
loud. Yeah, that apparently that's supposed to be coming out next month. So when that
And
comes
hopefully
out,
we'll release-
I know who's really excited for that.
that would be
Mm.
me.
Obviously, the
Yeah,
biggest
right.
Luna fan in the world.
Hey, you're the
Also-
biggest Lenny fan in the world.
Hey, I'm
That's
proud of
me.
that. Shut up.
Anyway, we're going to try to release some older podcasts for the time being as well, after
Right.
this one.
Yeah, in between this and then like the November podcast, we're gonna like get as many. We're gonna try and get the older podcasts out, so that way, like, you know, we get it done and out of the way. But so yeah, thank you guys for checking out thank you guys for checking out our newest episode of Talking Loud.
For now.
For now,
And we have to thank our
You need to
guest,
stop saying
CynicTheCritic.
latest or newest. It's gonna
I-
get old.
I'm sorry, it just rolled off the tongue.
Anyway,
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Please leave.
let's
a like
have a
on
thanks
our-
for our guest, CynicTheCritic. It was a pleasure having you on here.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
joining us, man.
Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, like this outro is starting to come off a lot messy. But yeah, thank you, CynicTheCritic, for joining us. It was great talking with you. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. Please leave a like and ring the notification bell so that way you guys will be notified whenever a new video is dropped. Also, if you want to leave your thoughts on any of these episodes or just on the podcast in general, the comment box, it's right down below. And until next time, I'm CynicTheCritic.
I'm the Anglophile Gamer.
I need to lie down. That episode just broke my voice. But I'm Yoshi Player.
Alright, I want to try to do something else. A la peanut butter sandwiches.
Yes.
Nobody's gonna get that.
Yeah. And I'm the Cartoon OG. Cowabunga, dudes.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.
And he